Welcome to British Accent Podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're diving into a skill that many English learners struggle with writing. Whether it's for work, school, or just expressing yourself better, improving your writing can make a huge difference in your confidence and communication.
Absolutely, writing in English can feel intimidating, but the good news is that with the right techniques and consistent practice, anyone can get better at it.
We'll be sharing practical strategies to help you improve your writing skills, from grammar tips to developing your own writing style. So, let's get started.
One of the biggest challenges with writing in English is knowing where to start. A lot of learners hesitate because they're afraid of making mistakes. But here's the thing, mistakes are part of the learning process. The more you write, the better you get.
That's so true, and one of the best ways to improve is through free writing. This means setting a timer for 5 to 10 minutes and just writing whatever comes to mind without worrying about grammar or structure. The goal is to train your brain to think in English and get comfortable expressing yourself.
Another key strategy is reading more. The more you read, the more you expose yourself to different sentence structures, vocabulary, and writing styles. Try reading a mix of fiction, non-fiction, and even online articles. When you come across phrases or sentence structures that you like, take notes and try using them in your own writing.
Yes, and don't forget about sentence variation. Many learners tend to write in simple, short sentences, which can sound robotic. Practice combining sentences using conjunctions like although, while, or since to make your writing flow better.
Also, if you struggle with grammar, don't stress too much. Focus on the most common mistakes first. For example, many learners mix up its and its or your and your. Identifying your weak points and working on them step by step will help you improve without feeling overwhelmed.
Another great way to improve is by keeping a journal in English. It doesn't have to be long, just a few sentences each day about what you did, how you feel, or something interesting you learned. This builds consistency and makes writing a habit.
And if you have access to language exchange partners or online communities, ask for feedback. Posting short pieces of writing in forums or working with a tutor can help you get constructive feedback and learn from your mistakes.
Lastly, don't aim for perfection. The best writers go through multiple drafts before their final piece is ready. Your first draft doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to exist. Editing and improving it later is where the real learning happens.
That's such a good point, Liam. A lot of people put too much pressure on themselves to get everything right the first time. But writing is a process. Even native speakers don't write perfectly in one go. They revise, edit, and refine.
Exactly. And one trick I always recommend is reading your writing out loud. When you do that, you can catch awkward phrasing, missing words, or areas that don't sound natural. If something feels off when you say it, chances are it needs some adjustment.
That's a great tip. Another useful technique is using online tools like Grammarly or Hemingway Editor. They can help identify common grammar mistakes, suggest better phrasing, and even check readability. But remember, don't rely on them completely. Use them as learning tools to understand your mistakes.
Yes, and let's talk about vocabulary. A lot of learners think they need to use complicated words to sound more advanced, but that's not true. Clear and simple writing is often the best. Instead of trying to sound fancy, focus on being clear and precise.
That's so important. One exercise that helps is rewriting sentences in different ways. Take a simple sentence like I had a good day and try expressing it differently. Today was a great day, or I really enjoyed my day today. This will expand your flexibility in writing.
And if you're writing something longer, like an essay or a report, planning is key. Make a quick outline before you start. Even just writing down 3 main points can help keep your thoughts organized and make writing much easier.
Yes, organization is everything. Paragraphs should have a clear focus, start with a topic sentence, give supporting details, and end with a conclusion. When your ideas are structured well, your writing becomes much easier to read.
And don't be afraid to rewrite. The first draft is never perfect, and even professional writers spend time revising. The more you practice editing, the better your writing becomes.
Absolutely. And one more thing, if you're struggling with writing fluency, try free writing. Just set a timer for 5 or 10 minutes and write without stopping. Don't worry about grammar or mistakes, just get your ideas on paper. It helps train your brain to think in English and overcome writer's block.
That's a fantastic exercise. And if you want to take it a step further, try writing about everyday experiences. For example, after a busy day, jot down a quick journal entry about what you did. This builds confidence and makes writing feel more natural over time.
And if you're looking for feedback, don't be afraid to share your writing with others. Whether it's a language exchange partner, a teacher, or even an online forum, getting input from real people will help you identify areas to improve and give you the confidence to keep going.
Yes. And another trick is analyzing good writing. Read articles, blog posts, or even social media captions in English and pay attention to how they're structured. Notice the sentence variety, transitions, and vocabulary choices. Then, try to incorporate similar techniques into your own writing.
That's such a good way to learn naturally. And don't forget, writing should also be fun. Whether you're keeping a travel journal, writing short stories, or even drafting messages in English, the more you enjoy the process, the more you'll improve.
Exactly. The key is consistency. Writing a little bit every day, even if it's just a few sentences, will make a huge difference over time.
And speaking of consistency, setting small, manageable goals can really help. Instead of telling yourself, I need to write an entire essay today, start with just a paragraph. Maybe even a few sentences at first. The important thing is to make it a habit.
That's a great point. Also, if you're not sure what to write about, try using writing prompts. There are so many available online, things like describe your perfect day. If you could travel anywhere, where would you go? They give you a starting point and help you think creatively in English.
Yes, and another fun way to practice is writing captions for your social media posts in English. Even something as simple as describing your coffee or your workout routine in English can train your brain to express thoughts naturally.
That's such a good idea. Plus, when you post online, you might get feedback from native speakers or other learners, which can be really motivating.
Right, and if you feel shy about posting publicly, you can always write privately first. Keep a digital note on your phone where you write a few sentences in English every day about your mood, your plans, or something interesting that happened.
Exactly. The more you integrate writing into your daily routine, the more natural it becomes.
Another way to improve your writing is to read more. When you read in English, you get exposed to different sentence structures, vocabulary, and writing styles. Over time, your brain starts recognizing patterns, and you naturally begin to write better.
That's true. And you don't have to read difficult books or long articles. Even short blog posts, news headlines, or captions on social media can help. If you see a phrase you like, try using it in your own writing.
I love that idea. Another great practice is rewriting sentences in different ways. Take a simple sentence like I like coffee and challenge yourself to write it in more detail or with different words, like I really enjoy drinking coffee in the morning because it helps me feel awake.
That's such a great exercise. And if you want feedback on your writing, there are so many options now. You can use apps like Grammarly or Languagetto, join writing communities, or even ask a language exchange partner to check your sentences.
Yes, and don't be afraid of making mistakes. The more you write, the better you'll get. Plus, writing helps improve your speaking skills because you're practicing how to organize your thoughts in English.
That's a really good point. Writing and speaking go hand in hand. The more comfortable you are writing in English, the easier it will be to express yourself when you speak.
And here's something else: keeping a daily journal in English can be super helpful. You don't have to write long essays. Just a few sentences about your day or what's on your mind can really help build confidence.
Exactly. And if you're not sure how to start, you can use prompts like, what was the best part of my day? Or what's one thing I learned today? Writing about personal experiences makes it easier to remember new words and phrases.
That's a great tip. Another thing that works is copying texts. Find a paragraph from a book or an article and write it down by hand. This helps you get used to sentence structure and punctuation.
Oh, I love that. And after you copy it, you can try rewriting it in your own words. That's an excellent way to practice paraphrasing, which is an important skill for both writing and speaking.
Yes, and don't forget to read your writing out loud. It helps you catch mistakes and also improves your pronunciation. Plus, when you hear your own words, you can see if they sound natural or if something needs to be changed.
Absolutely. And if you're really serious about improving, set a small daily writing goal. Even writing just 50 to 100 words a day can lead to huge improvements over time.
Another thing that can help is getting feedback. If you have a teacher, a tutor, or even a friend who speaks English, ask them to check your writing. Sometimes we don't realize our mistakes until someone else points them out.
Right. But if you don't have someone to review your writing, there are still ways to improve. You can use online tools like Grammarly or Hemingway Editor to check for grammar mistakes and make your sentences clearer.
Oh, Hemingway Editor is great for making your writing more natural. It highlights long or complex sentences, so you can simplify them. Writing clearly and concisely is important, especially in English.
Yes. And speaking of writing naturally, reading more can really help with that. The more you read, the more you will start to notice common sentence patterns and vocabulary.
Exactly, and it doesn't have to be boring. Read things you actually enjoy, like blogs, short stories, or even social media posts. When you see how real people write, it's easier to develop your own style.
That's such a good point. And another tip, don't be afraid to make mistakes. A lot of people avoid writing because they're scared of doing it wrong. But the only way to improve is by practicing. The more you write, the better you'll get.
Absolutely. Think of writing like learning to ride a bike. At first, you might wobble and fall, but with practice, you gain balance and confidence. The key is to keep going, even when it feels difficult.
And one way to practice consistently is to set small, daily writing goals. You don't have to write an entire essay, just a few sentences about your day, your thoughts, or even a short summary of something you read.
Yes, journaling in English is a great habit. You can write about your experiences, your goals, or even just describe what you see around you. It's a low-pressure way to improve.
And if you don't know how to say something, don't immediately switch to your native language. Try to work around the words you don't know. That way, you're training your brain to think in English instead of translating.
That's such an important habit to develop. Also, another fun way to practice is by leaving comments on social media posts or online forums. It's a great way to engage with real people and practice expressing your thoughts in writing.
Yes. Plus, you get exposure to different writing styles and ways of communicating. The more you engage, the more natural it becomes.
And remember, writing is a skill that takes time to develop. Don't be too hard on yourself if it doesn't feel perfect at first. Keep practicing, keep reading, and most importantly, enjoy the process.
Absolutely. And speaking of reading, one of the best ways to improve your writing is by exposing yourself to well-written content. Whether it's books, articles, or blog posts, reading helps you absorb sentence structures, vocabulary, and different writing styles.
Yes, and don't just passively read, try to actively engage with the text. Highlight words or phrases you like, take notes, and even try rewriting sentences in your own words. This helps reinforce what you've learned.
That's a great tip. Another technique is copying sentences or paragraphs from well-written texts and then changing small details. It's called modeling, and it helps train your brain to think in English.
Exactly. And if you want to challenge yourself, try writing in different styles. For example, write a formal email one day, then a casual social media post the next. This will make your writing more versatile and adaptable.
That's so true. Also, don't be afraid to experiment. Writing creatively like short stories or even personal reflections can make learning English much more enjoyable.
Yes, writing should be fun, not stressful. The more you enjoy it, the more you'll practice, and the better you'll get.
Another practical tip is to use online tools like Grammarly or Hemingway Editor. These tools can help you spot mistakes and improve clarity. But remember, they're just tools. They can't replace real practice.
That's an important point. Don't rely too much on them. Instead, use them to learn from your mistakes. If you keep seeing the same corrections, take note and work on those areas.
And if possible, find a writing partner or join an online writing group. Getting feedback from others is one of the best ways to improve.
Yes, even if it's just a friend who can read your writing and give you suggestions, it makes a big difference. Sometimes we don't notice our own mistakes, but others can spot them easily.
Exactly. And remember, writing in English is a journey. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel.
That's right. Writing in English takes time, patience, and practice, but every small step counts. The more you write, the more confident you'll become.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid of making mistakes. Mistakes help you learn. Just keep practicing, experimenting, and enjoying the process.
We hope these tips help you feel more comfortable and motivated to improve your writing skills. If you have any strategies that work for you, let us know.
Yes, and if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow our podcast and share it with your friends.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Take care and keep writing. Bye for now.
Bye.